Call the House Education Committee to order at this time. Good morning. Our secretary will take a silent roll at this time. At this time, I'm going to turn the mic over to Representative Clow and have him introduce our first presenter.
I'll actually do it right from here, and thank you, Madam Chairman. It's my pleasure to introduce to you a young man that I've gotten to know over the last few years. His name is Carlos Munoz. He's a senior at Xavier Charter School in Twin Falls, and he approached me last, I would say, probably almost a year ago. He was working on a senior project, and I said, "Already?" He was still a junior, and he said he wanted to get some ideas about what's going on in the legislature. So we kicked around some ideas, and they relate to education, so he'll be talking to you. I also want to introduce out in the audience his father is Tato Munoz, and for the record, that's not his real first name, but it's Geraldo. And I've known him for 15 to 20 years probably, because he was appointed to the Planning and Zoning Commission in Twin Falls when I was active in city government then, and I've got to know him and now his son. And so I'm excited to introduce to you a shining star from Twin Falls, Carlos Munoz.
Thank you. Welcome to the committee, Mr. Munoz.
Oh, you know, I need to add, just so everyone knows, he's already signed a letter of intent to go to the University of Idaho.
Oh. Thank you. One of our flagship universities, so great. It's good to have you here today, and your father too. So I'm going to turn the time over to you now.
Thank you, Mrs. Chairman. Mrs. Chairman and members of the committee, my name is Carlos Munoz. As Representative Clow had said, I'm a senior at Xavier Charter School, and as my senior project, I've been researching the possibilities for alternative routes to teaching certification. In addition, I have been researching the possibilities of hiring certified professionals, those with master's degrees or above in STEM-related fields without a teaching degree, for the purpose of answering the teacher shortage issue present in the state of Idaho. So in a 2015 study done by the Idaho State University by a Dr. Patty Mortensen, investigating teacher shortages in Idaho and the impact on district hiring, 115 districts were surveyed, 59% responded, and it resulted in these concurrent data points. From the past 6 months of the study of teachers interviewed for a hiring position, 21.21% were listed as adequately qualified for their position versus an overall 78.79% that were deemed inadequately qualified. The numbers go down to, for specialist positions, people who are specialized in certain fields, it goes down to 18.8%, which were deemed adequately qualified for their field, and 81.82% who were deemed inadequate. For districts that were reported filling positions on a scale from easy to fill or hard to fill, 61.19% reported that it was extremely challenging to fill those qualified positions with qualified individuals. Of those who chose secondary fields as hard to fill, they found that the majority were specialized positions such as math and science, and that of the 65 reporting districts, only 10 were able to hire fully qualified individuals for their schools. The study done in 2015 concluded that there was a definite shortage of qualified individuals for high school teaching present in Idaho. Over these past few months, what I've done is I've compiled research with Representative Clow. I have interviewed several people from educational backgrounds, administrative backgrounds, members of the public, and looking at possible answers to the pressing state issue of a teacher shortage. So one of the main things we looked at was bringing those with STEM-related graduate degrees into the classrooms because we believed that they were proficient in their subject matter and that they could bring that higher level of education to the schools. We understood the fact, too, that many professionals like that with graduate degrees, they have teaching experience at the college level, whether it be for want or need of their degree. One of the things we noticed is that even students in high schools can take classes at a college, myself included. I took a statistics class at our local college, CSI, from one of the said college professionals, who oftentimes does not have a certified teaching degree, and that class can be accredited to the high school, but in the same respect, that teacher cannot come and teach at the high school because they do not have a teaching certificate. So we wanted to see really if we could tap some of those resources, say retired professors or college teachers, to answer that teacher shortage present in our Idaho high schools. So these are some of the conditions that we considered as kind of valid points in interviewing possible professionals to come to teach at the high schools. We thought that one of the main points was that they should be mentored in the art of pedagogy, the art of teaching. We thought that if we were going to bring somebody who's taught at the college level for such a time, that one, we recognize that the environment at a high school is much different than that of a college, and that if they were to come teach there, they would have to be under certified master teachers with evaluations periodically, constantly being taught how to teach at the high school level, because we know they might know their material. Say if you have a master in chemistry, they might know everything about chemistry. But do they know how to represent that to high school students and have them understand that? One of the other things that we thought was to incentivize for the districts so that they can hire other professionals, such as, say, if we bring a professional into the field, the school districts are now saying, well, maybe they get a portion of money or something for hiring those professionals, or the mentors for those same teachers to encourage the mentorship of the hired professionals, an incentive for them so that they'll be able to do that. One of the things that we looked at was also privatized grants from privatized companies encouraging a collaboration between high school teachers and qualified STEM individuals. An example of that is with the American Chemical Society. My mother is a teacher at the local college. She has a PhD in chemistry, and through them, she works with one of the local elementary school teachers, providing them with course curriculum work and labs and things like that, so that that teacher who has that degree and knows how to teach can represent that to the students and give them a higher quality of education. And one of the things that happens is if the teacher decides to participate in that program with that professional, the school gets $500 as an incentive for being a participant of that program. One of the other things that we looked at was peer evaluations incorporated into the selection process. Realizing that before that they come in, they should be vetted and evaluated to see if this person should be allowed in contact with high school students and should be allowed to teach at that level. Another major thing that we looked at was if, say, they were brought into the teaching profession at the high school level, we still want them to work towards a certification while on the job. One of the resources that I researched was ABCTE, which is an online accreditation business that allows for teachers to work through a certified online degree in teaching that in the state of Idaho is credited. And one of the things that they said was that they're commonly completed within a year of starting the program whilst maintaining a full-time job. So we believed that was a really good resource for them to be able to teach, one under the same master teacher at the same time, getting on-the-job experience, which is very necessary, while at the same time working through an organization that one could possibly incentivize their teaching at the high school level, as well as helping them get their degree, facilitating that for them in the future. And another thing that we thought was probatory periods incorporated into contracts with no penalty clauses for the teachers, say maybe a 90-day period once they are hired, kind of evaluating their work and how they are in the classroom, and in the case of they need to be severed from the school, that there's no penalty for the school for that eventuality. So really, in conclusion, there's definitely a shortage of STEM certified teachers at a high school and teachers in general. But there's also many resources that are in place to answer the shortage. But I believe that in order to tap these resources, changes that involve teachers' unions, the State Department of Education, and local school districts would need to be made. Mrs. Chairman and the committee, I would like to thank you for the time you have allotted for me, and I would like to take the opportunity to specifically thank Representative Clow for his invaluable contributions and mentorship that have made my senior project possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you stand for questions from the committee? Committee, any questions? None. Oh, right here, Representative Kirby.
Yeah, on your 18 point something and 22 point something percentage that were qualified at the beginning of this data you were reading off. So what was the problem with the rest of them? What was the problem with the 78% or the 81% that made, in your opinion, they weren't qualified?
Mr. Munoz.
Just give me 1 second. I have to look through my research. One of the things that was looked at was specifically, especially for those specialized positions, that they weren't able to teach the course curriculum, which wasn't outlined specifically in this study, but was intended to be inferred that they weren't able to teach. The school districts decided that they weren't able to teach up to the level that they required for the school.
Representative.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Representative Amador.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Munoz, thank you for the presentation. Want to commend you for choosing the flagship university in the state of Idaho for attendance.
Thank you. Go Vandals.
Go Vandals. Just curious, I don't know if you mentioned it. What are you planning on majoring? Are you going to pursue a STEM career and background?
Mr. Munoz.
I am planning to pursue graduate degrees in both fields of physics and mechanical engineering. One of my big aspirations is to go to U of I for my 4-year degree, get my bachelor's in both physics and mechanical engineering, and then apply for graduate school at one of the Ivy League universities or like Caltech, and work towards both a PhD in both degrees, and hopefully either work for the government or for the private sector under contractors.
Okay, thank you. I have a question for you. When did you decide that you were going to go to college and achieve all these accomplishments? I mean, you've got a great set of goals. When did you decide? Can you think back and tell us when you decided to do this?
I think, and this is what I've told my father and my mother since I think I was 12.